What is up, guys? I am back with another video, and I am sorry for not pumping out a lot of content these past couple weeks, since I have been so busy with other things going on in my life, along with working on some intros, which is one of them that I just threw in there, along with some other things I'm trying to work with. And I'm just trying to do this just to kind of spice up my videos a little bit instead of just jumping right into something and just like whatever. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this. So in the background, I am going to be playing the Chronomancer, doing both condition, build, kind of like the meta and offensive roles, just to kind of have something just playing in the background. I'm not really doing anything just too crazy. I'm just having something to fill while I'm just kind of just talking. I wanted to see where everything kind of stands post-patch, and by no means this is a set in stone for anything in high-ranking roles such as raids for condition mesmer, since that's not the role nor the purpose of the Chronomancer, since the Chronomancer is designed for boon duration and the complete support role, since the overall damage of the Chronomancer is lacking. But I just wanted to kind of just play with something a little bit different, which is what we're going to be talking about in just a second. So basically what I'm going to demonstrate is something along the lines of just PVE open world content roles versus a situational style such as dungeons, fractals, and raid builds, since those are basically set in stone regardless of any situation, which is what I was just talking about. Mesmers in general / Chronomancer, their main role in that stuff is supposed to give great support. Like, you gotta do the reflections if that's needed, but above else, you have to just maintain the quickness uptime and basically be everything else that you just need to be doing as a support role. So when it comes down to open world content such as doing world bosses, dailies, or living stories, sometimes things can get a little bit tricky if you only play one specific build and doesn't really play in favor for something unless you really know how to play the class well. If you get those near perfect dodges, blocks, etc. So this being said, running around with condition gear for Mesmer solo for any type of open world content can suffice for both high-end damage along with survivability. The reason for this is due to the mid-range fights along with heavy DPS via individuals with minor AoE bursts from shatter if you need to shatter. The scepter plays a big role in regards to the number 2 skill for the blocks and the super low cooldown. Like, the cooldown is just like ridiculous. Like, it's about 4 seconds plus like the alacrity, so you almost have immediate blocks back up. The DPS on the golem is really hard to determine due to the fact it's not attacking, which reduces the overall DPS calculation, since confusion and torment play a big role in regards to anyone attacking, which is why the condition Chronomancer is really good in regards to PvP due to fast-paced gameplay with skills being used in a very rapid manner. With that being said, the enemies still don't attack at a very fast rate, and that can still dampen conditions uses, but that doesn't mean that those conditions suck. It doesn't make this build any less viable due to the fact that the main damage that you'll be dishing out is the bleeding instead of the confusion and torment, but it does kind of stack up at the very end, which is done very well from the duelist trait line and how fast the duelists attack. So with this being said, the main choices are going to be scepter and pistol no matter what. No matter what you're going to be doing with the condition build, you have to have the pistol and you have to have the scepter. And you decide if you want to run shield just as a good defensive option, or you could do something a little bit different, which I want to be just talking about in just a second. Being able to provide condition damage and regular burst damage, I would suggest going with staff with this build. I didn't use staff on the DPS golem just for the fact that since it's such a defensive weapon, the DPS is just, it's kind of like just non-existent, even though you have really good survivability. But when it comes down to just PvE open world content, the number 2 skill is going to be really good to keep the distance. And with the AI system in regards to the enemies, they focus so much kind of like on like the pets with rangers and other things that they always hone in on everything else but you for a lot of times. So it kind of gives you a little bit of that distance. And the number 5 skill for the staff will give you heavy boon support along with extra aid and blocks if you for some reason around the dodges or just don't see something in the corner of your eye and it's a big hit and you end up just blocking because you get the free Aegis. So it kind of gives you a little bit extra support in regards to being able to get support of reading animations and other things if you're wanting to kind of like just test out some things. I would also say the next best build, even though I didn't showcase this, is run something like a full set of minstrel armor to get that healing style with inspiration, and the chaos trait lines will give you the best support role by solo or doing some group content throughout the exploration of whatever you are doing. The build will consist of sword, shield, and staff. The main purpose of this build is to maintain the most damage while being received, while being about to quickly evade out of while using Blurred Frenzy, shield blocks. The staff Chaos Storm will play a huge role into this. If you want to do a bit more damage, you can do something in regards to like knights, or you can do something with commanders, which I would probably prefer, just because you get that most optimal boon duration. But with the minstrel, it kind of plays a little better just because you're going to be able to get a really good tankiness out of it, even though that's kind of like with the commander. So, but the healing is relatively nice. So I mean, it kind of just goes in situational. Like if you want to do more damage while being a little bit tankier with less heals, then just go with commanders. And if you're fine with all that stuff, so I mean, if you're already running around with the commander set from your meta gear, it's pretty much just fine, which is because you're going to be running about the same stuff as you would. And honestly, this video is probably just not for you, since you are running something that is pretty much already along those lines. But when it comes down to the sigils, it's all preference in my opinion, because when it comes down to like the condition, you have to focus on something that gives you the condition duration and condition duration. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like when you're running condition build, no matter what you're doing in PVE, raids, dungeons, you want to try to maximize your conditions, because what's the point of having a condition build if you don't maximize that specific thing in order to give you the best results? So everything else, it's kind of like all situational. So for example, if you are in a map full of heavy conditions applying foes, maybe you get a sigil to help absorb some conditions if you feel like healing, like the healing well, which you'll be most likely using just because it does condition removal along with the inspiration trait line. It will allow you to knock out more conditions, and the shatters will remove conditions. But I feel like regardless, the sigil can still be applied from the meta use perspective if you don't feel like wasting gold on multiple sets of weapons and sigils just for a specific thing, which I totally understand, because I'm kind of like that too. Sometimes I don't feel like just getting a specific weapon and all other stuff just for one little thing that I might not even need to go back to. I will be providing a link for the builds that I was using in this video in regards to some miscellaneous builds like the minstrel, to get a better visual about what could be used and what not. Just to add as an extra reminder before I end this video, these builds are not designed to replace anything in regards to dungeons, fractals, and raids due to their specific ideals in regards to the roles of each class. This is just something interesting, fun, and different from the normal gameplay that we all tend to just see. I wouldn't want to take much of this stuff all too seriously for anyone that is all about the min-max situation, because this is not what this video is all about. It's just about playing something different from the norm and just enjoying something that is completely different. I just like to call it the fun theory crafting, and that is how good builds come into play just from all experimentations. Now that I got this out of the way, I would love to hear what you guys are using in the open world experiences and whatnot. Until next time guys, I will see you guys later.